everybody. Thanks for joining me here once again for another session of advice of the Zodiac Twist. Today I'm going to be doing another birth chart. I didn't know these were going to be that darn popular, but actually I'm really glad because people, that contact me, they want to know a lot more about their zodiac sign beyond just the sun sign, because as I always say, you can't judge two zodiac signs exactly the same, thinking that all Scorpios are the same or all Leos are the same, because they aren't. You have to dig deeper. And that's what the birth chart is all about. So with that said, let's get into it. A fellow YouTuber contacted me, a fellow Scorpio. I've been getting a lot of requests from Scorpios recently. Y'all just coming out of the woodwork, but I love it though. Thank you. And he's different. Well, it's a guy, and I really don't get a lot of requests from guys, so this is different. Anyway, he wanted me to do a birth chart on him, and if you're not familiar with my birth chart videos, let me just give you a quick overview of what it's about. A birth chart really just goes deeper into detail about your zodiac sign and the other planetary influences in your chart. Now, today I'm going to be focusing on 4, as I always do: Sun, Moon, Mars, and Venus. Now, your Sun sign determines your overall personality. Now, your Moon determines your emotional personality, how you deal with things emotionally. Now, your Venus deals with how you handle situations like relationships with your family members, with friends, with coworkers, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, what have you. And the Mars deals with temperament, anger, confrontation, how you handle yourself when confrontations with others, things like that. So that's why we're focusing on these 4 key planetary alignments. Now, if you want a more detailed analysis, I suggest that you go over to cafeastrology.com. It's a really good website. It gives you a really good, deep, in-depth analysis of your birth sign. No, I don't work for them, but they really are a good website. So if I have the opportunity to recommend them, I will. Alright, so his sun sign is Scorpio, and he was born November 21st. Now, straight off the bat, I'll talk to the guy now. I should tell you that because your birthday is November 21st, you are right on the cusp between Scorpio and Sagittarius. So if I describe you and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like me, now you know why. And that's why I think it's really important that you go to cafeastrology.com, because they can give you a deeper insight, whereas me, I only have 10 minutes to do it. So you see what I'm saying? But like I said, that's why, if it sounds a little off, you know why, because your birthday is right on the cusp. So you may have a lot more Sagittarius influences than you do Scorpio. So determine for yourself after I tell you some things about you. Alright, so as a Sagittarius, I just did it. As a Scorpio male, you're very intense and you like to analyze others. You tend to pick people apart rather quickly because you're extremely perceptive and intuitive, as all Scorpios are. So that's why people find Scorpio men to be either very approachable and fun-loving or extremely intimidating. One extreme or the other. There's no in between, because that's just, that's just how Scorpios are. That's what we were cursed with. There's no in between with us. So, like I said, you like to analyze other people and, ask them really blunt, personal questions just to see their reaction, because you always do that. Like, you're always, testing people emotionally to see, how they'll react to the questions that you ask them. Like, you're extremely blunt. Like, you come on very strong when you feel like it. Sometimes when you're extremely cold and indifferent and you really don't care. You see what I'm saying? So your personality can switch at the drop of a hat. And the biggest fear that you have, and this is something that you don't have to fess up to, but since I'm a Scorpio and I know Scorpio men and women extremely well, I can say this. The biggest fear, I think, for you is that you don't want to feel like you're too emotionally tied to anyone, because you see that as a sign of weakness. And it isn't. But you see it like, okay, I really don't want to have to be dependent on anyone, physically, financially, emotionally. You don't want to feel that way. You always want to feel like you're in control and that you're independent. So that's something that, I just want you to kind of, marinate on, even if you don't want to admit it. It's okay. So that's your overview of the sun sign Scorpio. So just please remember what I said about your birthday being on the cusp. So let's move on. Your moon is in Taurus. Now, Taurus men, with your moon in Taurus, you tend to be very ambitious, determined, loyal, very laid back, but of course you can be occasionally moody, because that's just, goes with the territory of being Scorpio. So with your moon in Taurus, you're extremely ambitious, and you like to, just go after things that you may or may not necessarily get. But I think for the most part, it's like the thrill of just doing something that you wouldn't normally do. It kind of gets to you. Like, you'll try something out to see if it fits, and if it doesn't, you move on to the next thing. Like, you're not easily discouraged, which is a really good thing. You can be very possessive and stubborn, so you need to have your way. And you always tend to put yourself first, no matter what. And, that's something that also I want to bring to your attention, as if you didn't already know that, which I know you did. So that's, the overview of your moon being in Taurus. Now, your Venus is in Libra. Now, Libra is an air sign. And with your Venus in Libra, it's kind of, actually, it's a really good thing. You're very, very romantic and very sweet. You know how to treat people. But you tend to ignore your own faults a lot. You tend to put everybody else in the spotlight. You put everybody else on blast. But if someone tries to call you out on your own stuff, you get extremely defensive. Even though you might be right on the money about them, you don't want somebody like turning the tables on you and asking you anything about yourself unless you volunteer that information. You're extremely private. You tell people things on a need-to-know basis, and that's just how you are. So even though you might have, a wide circle of friends, you always maintain a level of, you always maintain a level of just being kind of introverted when it comes to certain things. Because there's just certain things that you will and will not talk about. And people who really know you know that by now. But when you look for somebody, if you're I don't know if you have a girlfriend or whatever, but when you're looking for someone, you like someone to be a good listener, an impeccable dresser, because you're very concerned about appearances, and a good cook. And if you can find all those three things in a person, then you're good to go. A good listener, an impeccable dresser, and a good cook. So that's my overview of your Venus being in Libra. Now, your Mars is in Aries. Now, Aries overall is a very aggressive sign, and I don't mean that in a negative way. But Aries, with your Mars in Aries, you tend to get bored rather quickly, but that just adds to your charm because you throw yourself into everything that you do because you feel like it may be the last time that you do it. Like I said, you get bored very quickly. You don't like doing the same thing twice or doing the same thing with the same person over and over again. You're very willful. You're very stubborn, as I already said, but you're extremely honest. Like, you're going to give your honest opinion. You'd rather be straightforward and blunt with people than to just shake your head and nod and pretend like you agree with them when you really don't. You'd rather stand on your own merit and stand and be strong than to just go along with the crowd and just agree with what everybody else is doing and just be a follower, because you're not a follower. And that's, your overview of with your Mars being in Aries. Now, I just wanted to, I'm not going to quote what you said to me in your email word for word because I never do, but there was something that you said to the effect that you think, Scorpios as a whole, we're going to have a hard time, or we've been having a hard time these past 6 months. Personally, I don't believe that, and I'm just going to try to simplify it for you. Sometimes situations are only as hard as we make them. If we see the negative in every situation, then that's what the situation is going to be. It's going to be negative. You have to start looking at the positive in every situation, even if you really don't want to, and even if you feel like crap about things that are happening. Believe and trust that everything is happening for a reason. There's a bigger, greater plan beyond what's going on in your world, and you have to believe in fate and destiny. And I don't want to get all flaky and sounding crazy about it, but seriously, you have to start looking at situations and taking positive things away from them and saying, okay, well, this happened, so I know I won't do that again, or I know I won't allow myself to go through that again, So just try to think of it in that way. But don't look at this as, you're just going to have a lot of troubles and a lot of bad luck. And, I don't believe in luck. You create your own luck, but it starts and ends with you. So just please try to keep that in mind. I hope I did a good job with your chart. And like I said, definitely check out that website. I'll put the link at the bottom for you guys. And I hope that I answered all your questions. If I didn't, please feel free to email me. I thank you for viewing. And everybody else out there, if you'd like a chart done, please feel free to email me, creativewritings247@gmail.com. If you want astrological advice on yourself, or if you want a compatibility analysis, which I really enjoy doing, you can also email me if you have any questions, concerns, recipes, whatever. I don't care. Just, hit me up anytime you want to. creativewritings247@gmail.com. I thank you for watching, and I will see you later.